The idea of starting something in the media realm had been at the back of my mind for a while. But it is only when I went to the New York Global Media Summit last year that I decided that I had to do it, and I had to do it now. And the reason for that was twofold. One, I found that much of the mainstream media, all the way from print to TV, was fixated with ratings and news cycles. And two, I found most people in the room were scarily homogeneous. This was particularly worrying considering how the nature of the world is changing, how the world of science, of business, of academics are becoming more diverse. But here you have the media world still fundamentally, largely uniform, still fundamentally driven by a narrow set of considerations. And I thought in a globalized world where emerging economies are becoming stronger, where you have so many new narratives that are at play, it was important to have something like Fair Observer. There is a fair bit of material on the internet which is very good, which is non-mainstream. Blogs, intellectuals who write occasional articles. But it's so hard to find because there's an awful amount of extraordinarily meretricious writing and opinion that's out there in the blogosphere. So if you're an intelligent reader, you are facing this huge dichotomy in which you know there is some good stuff there, but you don't have the time to find it. But at the same time, the old trusted news sources are not quite as venerable, as professional, as deep as you would like them to be, and they are no longer serving your needs. So you find a niche there which is unfulfilled, and which was unfulfilled for me and a large number of my friends in all the countries that I have been to and I have talked to, and I felt given such a transnational need, there was space for something like Fair Observer. Well, what Fair Observer brings, first off, is a truly global consciousness. It recognizes that there are many narratives. We believe that if you are analyzing any issue, and more specifically an issue with international ramifications, there are more than one prisms to look at it from. And it's important that if, let's say, we talk about China or we talk about Brazil, we have the perspective not just from Washington, D.C. or London or Berlin or Delhi, but we have an idea of what each of these cities or what each of these parts of the world think. And so when it will look at a problem, it will try and make sure that there are people who come from different disciplines and many countries who examine an idea. And so what we are striving to do is unprecedented. We are striving to have a genuine plurality of perspectives. Also, what we are trying to do is try and get knowledge out of the silos. We live in a world with more and more knowledge, but that knowledge, ironically, is in silos. And what we are trying to do is we are trying to tap people with deep expertise, people who know right about what they know, so that what you get as the reader is a rich, nuanced version of the world. And it increases and sharpens your understanding of the world. And that's why our motto is making sense of the world. The target audience now comprises of three segments. One, of course, the business community, which has to live and function in an increasingly globalized economy, where its markets might be in one country, its production might be in another country, and its headquarters might be in a third country. And so business professionals want to know about different parts of the world and want to have a more nuanced, informed opinion. Second segment is the policymaking community, and that includes diplomats, intelligence people, aides to politicians who again have to function in a world which is increasingly interlinked. And third is the academic community, from professors to undergraduates, who want to have greater knowledge about the world that they will be working and studying in. And our geographical focus initially is the US, the UK, Germany, and India. Later on, we want to expand. We want to be present all the way from Canada to Argentina in the Western world, in the whole of Europe, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, East Asia, Middle East, and perhaps last and definitely not the least, China. The rise of China, or the return of China on the global scene, is a defining feature of our era. And what we want is greater engagement. What we want is people in China and people in the rest of the world engaging with each other, not viewing each other through prisms that distort realities. And that fundamentally is what Fair Observer is striving to do, and it's all about. Our revenue streams are primarily threefold. First, we focus on advertising, and that will be dependent on us driving traffic, buzz, and engagement. So we plan to optimize that. Two, we make sure that over the next 2 years, we create a fantastic pipeline of top content which is relevant for the business community, especially when it comes to the emerging economies. So 2 years down the line, once we have established that, then we can have a premium section and charge subscriptions for it. The third thing that we have been focusing on and talking to a number of our friends from the intelligence community is to start Fair Observer Intelligence. This means going to our friends from the intelligence community in the US, in India, and in Israel, and getting them to answer the needs of investors and business leaders. What this means is that we go to business leaders, we go to investors, find out what their needs are. We ask them what political risk they want to know about, what strategic scenarios they need guidance on, and we have our intelligence professionals draw up a most likely, high risk, most favorable, let's say 3 scenarios, so that the business community can then take, and our clients can then take, a more informed decision. Now, this is a bit like the Economist Intelligence Unit and Stratfor, and it therefore will have a niche revenue generating capacity specialized towards high net worth clients.